welcome to Parenting in My Pocket Q&A episode 19. Episode 19. Can't believe we're nearly in 20s. These come around very fast, don't they? Maybe you're all a bit bored of them. Hope not. But yeah, it's been a kind of a crappy few days here in Drogheda weather-wise. It's been a crappy few weeks with my internet. So hopefully next week when we're chatting I'll have a better internet connection than I do now. So hopefully it won't go down. It should be okay for this. Fingers crossed anyway. I hope you've all been keeping well and safe. Happy inauguration day for all you Joe Biden fans out there. I hope you're enjoying it, and the end of Trump as President of the United States, which isn't necessarily going to be a bad thing at all. So to all you American people out there who are tuning in, I hope your country is in a better place after today. We've a couple of questions to cover today, which we will get into. Our newsletter just went out today, so if you guys aren't signed up for our newsletter, head over to the Help Me to Parent site and you can sign up to get a newsletter that comes out every month or two. And there's a new article on how you can kind of manage things while the lockdown is on. Actually, I might post the article in here as well. But yeah, you get articles sent every month, and there's also links. And we have links to our online courses. So our online courses are reduced from now. So you can grab the parenting program, 6 sessions. Trust me, there's so much information in there that will be beneficial for only €99. So you can grab that. We also have bundles. We have our mini courses are reduced to €25. So go over, grab one, get the deal while you can. Trust me, you will enjoy it. It will be worth it. And if you don't, get in touch with me and give out to me, and I'll see if we can change things, because I'm always open to needing to change if need be. What else is going on? Yes, we're going to have a new podcast, a new motivation podcast coming out in the next week, and the guest is Mary O'Donoghue, my mother. So it was a really interesting discussion to have. We recorded it yesterday, so it should be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So that'll be coming out in the next week, the next one. Also, myself and Mary have put out a couple of podcasts in relation to logosynthesis. So in the Parenting in My Pocket weekly podcast, we discuss logosynthesis and how you can actually bring it into your life. So give it a listen and let me know what you think. I think that's pretty much it. I think we've covered everything. Get onto the mailing list. You will get offers and you will get all that kind of stuff. There's a little competition as well for a signed book as part of the mailing list, so jump on that if you would like to. Hello Tana, good to see you. Lisa Marie, good to see you too. Caitlin, how you doing? Hope we've all been keeping well. So we're going to crack into the questions today. It's interesting. You know the way last week I said that we were going to be moving towards paperless, and it's been working really well. My bloody printer has decided to give up. Now, you might say that's a good thing, but there are some things I need a printer for, and today it decided to not work. So my internet has been a pain in the ass. My printer stopped working. Something else electronic hasn't been working out. So we're moving towards paperless, but I do need a printer, so I'm going to look into fixing my printer somehow or getting that sorted out. Anyway, I digress. Let's look at today's questions. My 3 boys are aged between 8 and 12, and we had a lovely Christmas overall. We spent a lot of time together, but something that isn't leaving me is my frustration that the boys seem to have so little regard for the amount of hard work myself and my partner put into getting them everything that they got this Christmas. They got a very expensive console that we worked so hard to get, and when they were playing on Christmas Day, one of them threw the new controller at the console when he lost a football match to the other. I was so upset. Where have I gone wrong, and what can I do to make them more aware of the value of things? I'm sure that resonates with many, many parents out there. And there's a few things I'd say. Firstly, your children don't necessarily think about, at that age, don't necessarily think about the value of things, and if you've got an 8-year-old, Santa Claus probably brought the console, so it wasn't even you guys. So there's a little bit there where you can kind of go, okay, they don't think about the work that goes into getting what they got. And really there needs to be a balance in that, in terms of them understanding the value but not feeling completely overwhelmed that every single thing costs lots and lots of money. So it's a really tricky balance that people can have at times. What I would suggest is, it's okay for you to put a boundary in place when it comes to them acting appropriately around stuff that they got, not even stuff that they got, just around the house. It's not okay to throw things when you're frustrated. Now, adults, plenty of adults I know, do the same thing. But again, it doesn't make it okay. So there's a piece of work there that you can start to look at. Okay, well, what is the boundary that I need to put in place? Like, I could go and take away the console altogether and say, that's it, no one's playing with it. But is that fair on the other two? Probably not. So the child that has done something wrong is the one that needs to get the consequence. And it doesn't have to be massive. It can be something small. It can be just a bit of time out for a few minutes. But it is okay for you to start to have the conversations around how things do cost money, and that you guys do put in a lot of work to be able to provide these things for your children. And it's about reassuring that they don't need to worry about the money, but that it is important that when they get something, they treat it with respect. And this is where this ultimately comes down. You're feeling disrespected. You're feeling that your effort and the work that you do is not being respected by the children. And then what's happened is, when that's happened, you've turned that around to you and go, what have I done wrong? So you've got a double whammy. You've got the disrespect from your children that you're feeling, and then the punch in the jaw you're giving yourself because you're saying it's your fault that this has happened. So let's scrape them to the side for a second. What you're looking to do is teach your children about respect. Respect for you, but respect for the things that they own, respect for the things within the family home, all that kind of stuff. It's about respect. You can sit down and have the conversations around, this is what respect looks like, because it's very easy to talk about respect, but what does it actually mean? And in the moment, like we always say, emotion overpowers the logic. So your children aren't deciding to, I know I've lost a game of football, I think I'll throw my control on the ground. It's just an instinctual reaction. But that's where you, as a parent, can start to watch them and let them know what their triggers are. So when you lose a match, this is what happens. So what can you do differently? And get them to start to try and take control of how they react to their emotions. And then what you can do is look at the consequences, obviously, because there will be times where you need to put consequences in to teach them about that boundary of respect. And then you can look at, well, are there jobs that they can start to do around the house where they either are doing it because they are part of the family unit and that's the way you want things to be, because they will learn that if they tidy up the playroom, for example, or the bedroom, and someone else comes in and undoes all their good work, they're going to be hurt by it or frustrated by it. And then they learn directly that the work that you put in, if it's disrespected by somebody else, it's not very nice. So that they're learning about life. And it's not that you're trying to teach them hard lessons, but you are trying to teach them about respect, and that is a lesson that they need to learn. So look at it from that perspective of, this is a life lesson that I'm trying to put in place for my children so that they learn about respect. And they also learn respect for themselves then, and what they own. Because they don't want the stuff that they have gotten taken away or confiscated. They want to have it, but they need to learn to respect it. So by taking them out of the situation, or taking it out of the situation, that then teaches them a boundary. It's a pain in the ass as a parent to have to do, but it's what we have to do because it's our job. So the other important piece is to have the conversation not on the back of something happening. because they will know that you're frustrated. You will be frustrated, and they'll react to the emotion of frustration that they're seeing, and they won't necessarily take in the message that you're trying to get across to them. So when things are calm, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, who knows, but when things are calm, sit them down, talk about the importance of respect. Talk to them about how you don't want to put boundaries in place, you don't want to put consequences in place for them, but that it is important that they don't disrespect you and your partner and themselves by breaking the things that they own or that you have got for them. And if they do, they either pay for a replacement themselves or they don't get a replacement. Because a large number of the parents that I work with, when things settle down, will go, the console is sitting there, I'll just go get them a new controller. They've been good, they've put in the effort. I think it's important that they learn that there are consequences to their actions. If you decided that you were angry and that you would take the side off your car, no one's turning around to you and going, after you've kind of gone, oh, that was stupid, I tell you what, I'll buy you a new car because, you've learned your lesson. It's not the way life works. So either they pay for it themselves, partially pay for it themselves, or they don't get it replaced at all. And just see how that goes. But have the conversation first outside of the issues that are happening. And don't expect it to just change like that. It might do, but I wouldn't have that expectation of you or your children that it will change automatically. And just see how that goes, and then work with them individually, because you'll have to work with them individually because they are individual young people with different ways of communicating, and find the way to communicate with each of them to get them to understand that it's not okay to disrespect through whatever way they're disrespecting. And let me know how you get on. Do come back to me. Eileen said thank you for joining in. Okay, second question for today. My 11-year-old will be going to secondary school next year. He wants to go with his friends from his primary school, but the school that most of them are going to hasn't got a really good reputation. Myself and my husband are nervous about sending him there. Because we're worried that he can get into the wrong crowd and we want to send him to another smaller secondary school. We're just not sure how to have the conversation with him, as we know he'll be really upset and will most likely cause an argument. Have you any suggestions on how we could have the conversation with him and to manage any potential fallout? Again, another one that will probably resonate with a lot of you guys tuning in. I remember wanting to go to a secondary school with my friends, and I wasn't allowed to go. And I was so upset and so annoyed at my parents for not letting me go. And I made the decision to work, but not work too much, because I was annoyed. Now, I'm not saying that you have to give in to your kids because they might get annoyed and might not work. But there's a few things to take on board here. Yes, you as parents have to be mindful of the potential for your child getting brought in or finding solace with the wrong crowd. But ultimately, the wrong crowd is just a group of all the same young people who just happen to G each other on. The one thing I will say is, in my experience of working with schools, and I've over 20 odd years of working very closely with schools, every school will have the wrong crowd. Every school will have the bullies. Every school will have the kids that you don't want your children hanging around with. But conversely, every school will have great groups of young people. Every school will have young people that will excel and do exceptionally well. And just because the reputation of the school may not be that good, doesn't mean that that's going to be the case. There's one of the schools here in Drogheda that I do a lot of work with, and they traditionally don't have the best reputation for those young people who attend there, but yet they continually come out with some of the best results in the country overall because of those young people that are there that people just don't hear about, because we only hear about the negative. And there is a balancing act there. Now, you know your child best, so you'll know if your child could be easily led, right? And that may be factoring into the decision. And if that is the case, and if you are concerned that he could be easily led, and that he may get excited by, the fun and the challenge of the misbehaviour that could be out there, well, then you need to make the best decision for right now. And if that turns out to not be the right decision right now, your son will be okay. I turned out all right. I changed schools midway through, still didn't get to go to the one that I wanted to, but I went to another one and it was grand. So have a look at this, realistically, because you might have a child that you might go, actually, he generally wouldn't follow the negative crowd. He wouldn't kind of do things that, would get him in trouble. And his group of friends are pretty good too. So that might be a factoring decision for you to actually discuss and see, well, maybe letting him go there is the reverse of what we would do. So you might want him to go to the small secondary school. And if that didn't work out, you might go, okay, well, after third year we'll let him switch. Well, you could do the opposite. You could let him go, and if it's not working out, you can let him switch. Yes, you'll have to go through the challenges, but you're probably going to go through challenges anyway. But if you truly, truly don't want him to go to that school, well, then you just have to sit down and say to him, we've made this decision. We think it's the best decision for right now. We think you will do better in school. We think you'll have a better opportunities, and that you won't be maybe under pressure to go and do things that you don't necessarily want to do, or that might get you in trouble. And you might sit there and go, what the hell are you talking about? I'm good, I don't get in trouble. But it's about looking at it from the perspective of, you're making the decision, the best decision that you can right now as a parent, and he just has to put up with it. And if there is arguments, or if there is fighting, well, what do? You put a boundary in place. You give him consequences and let him know that it's not okay for him to behave that way. Yes, he can be frustrated, because he's allowed to be frustrated. Yes, he can be angry. Yes, he can be annoyed at you guys. But that's just the way life is. And we don't all get what we want. That's just the way it is. And as I will always say, if he turns around at 25 years of age and say, you ruined my life as a child by sending me to that school, maybe life hasn't been that bad, if that's the only problem he has. But the big, over and over again, even in the 2 weeks I've been back at work, the amount of parents I've worked with who are really, really worried and concerned about their children and the decisions that they're making for their children right now, and how the long-term impact of that how it could affect their children. You all make the best decisions right now with the best information that you have at hand. And things can change. You can change things if they don't work out. So if you do go and send your child to a school and it doesn't work out, you have to deal with it anyway. And if anyone's turning around to you and saying, see, told you so, well, they're just being a prick. Because I told you so gets you nowhere. You still have to deal with the situation. So if you make a decision, don't think of it as this is the be all and end all. It's not. Things can change. You can change your mind. You are an adult. You can change your mind. If things aren't working out for your child, well, just send them to a different school. Try a different class. Look at the different options that are available, because there are always other options. It's a big decision. Picking a secondary school for your child is such a big decision, and getting a secondary school that your child could flourish in is a gamble. Like, everyone has gambled. I've worked with parents who send their children to private schools that are extremely expensive, and their children have flourished. I've seen literally the complete opposite, where they've sent them to expensive primary school or secondary schools, and their children have got into drugs and stuff like that. Like, please don't kid yourself that private schools and expensive schools are automatically going to be better for your child, and that the teachers have got more of a handle on things and all this kind of stuff. Every single school has every single thing going on. It's just some schools are either unwilling to admit it, which I've absolutely come across in schools that I've worked with, or they hide it very well. Okay? Because every school has issues. There's not one school on the planet that I've ever come across that doesn't have issues. Your child is going to do okay, probably, wherever they go. But if it's not working out for them, or if you're seeing them slide in a different direction that you are concerned about, you need to nip it in the bud and deal with it. But you will. You will. Okay. Guys, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please do go sign up for our courses. They're all reduced. The parenting course is €99. The 2 mini courses, €25. And we have bundles. So you can get, if you bundle them together, you can get them for even cheaper. Right? Sign up for our newsletter, and I will post a link right now to our latest article on how to handle things with schooling at home. Alright guys, take care.